Be me. 27-year-old assistant professor. Just got tenure track position at Middleton College, small liberal arts school in Vermont. First semester teaching, introduction to sociology, spent 6 years in grad school, survived on ramen and adjunct wages, finally made it to the other side. Time to shape young minds. First day of class. Walk into lecture hall. 45 freshmen staring at their phones. Clear my throat dramatically. Welcome to Introduction to Sociology. I am Professor Claire Whitmore. This semester we will deconstruct society itself. One student looks up briefly, goes back to phone. Hand out syllabi. Spent 3 weeks designing it. Color-coded sections. Trigger warnings for every reading. Alternative assignment options for everything. 60 pages total. Student raises hand. Yes? Is this whole thing going to be on the exam? Deep breath. No, the syllabus is a living document. It will evolve with our collective journey. He looks confused. Puts syllabus in backpack without reading it. Week 2. Lecture on Social Construction of Gender. This is my specialty. My dissertation was on this exact topic. 367 pages of pure academic brilliance. Gender is not binary. It is a spectrum constructed by patriarchal institutions. One student actually taking notes, feeling validated. Then a hand goes up. Back row. Guy in a business fraternity hoodie. Here we go. Professor, I have a question. Go ahead. If gender is constructed, why do trans people feel born in wrong body? Wouldn't that suggest something innate? The room goes quiet. My face gets hot. This is clearly bad faith engagement. Designed to derail my lecture. That's a complex topic. We'll cover it later in the semester. But isn't that contradictory to what you just? We're moving on. After class, email from Department Chair Dr. Morrison. Routine check-in for new faculty. Want to discuss your teaching evaluations? My heart sinks. Evaluations already? It's only week 3. Meeting next day. Dr. Morrison is an older woman. Published 40 books. Intimidating presence. Claire, your student feedback is concerning. Some students feel lectures are ideological, rather than educational. I sit up straighter. With all due respect, sociology is inherently political. Teaching neutrality is a myth. She sighs. I've been doing this for 35 years. Your job is to teach students how to think. Not what to think. There's a difference. I feel myself getting defensive. The traditional approach has failed marginalized groups. We need to center their experiences. She looks tired. Center whatever you want. Just don't fail half the class for disagreeing with you. I would never. You gave a student a D for arguing biological factors in gender. His paper was well-researched. His sources were problematic. Evolutionary psychology is pseudoscience. Some of his sources were peer-reviewed. Peer review is compromised by institutional bias. She stares at me for a long moment. Claire, I hired you because you were brilliant. Don't make me regret it. Meeting over. I leave feeling misunderstood. She doesn't get it. She's from a different generation. Internalized the patriarchal academic structure. Week 4. Midterm essays due. Topic is gender roles in modern society. Expecting thoughtful feminist analysis. Start grading. First essay argues women choose different careers. Cites freedom of choice, not oppression. Includes 12 peer-reviewed sources. Clearly well-written. Give it a C-. Fails to adequately critique capitalist structures. Next essay. Second essay is 2 pages. Mostly copied from Wikipedia, but argues wage gap is systemic oppression. Give it a B+. Shows correct understanding of material. Third essay quotes my own lectures back at me. Word for word in some places. No original analysis whatsoever. A minus. Excellent engagement with course concepts. After grading, post in my academic feminism Discord server. Anyone else exhausted by student resistance? Immediate responses. Same here, bestie. They're not ready for the truth, especially the men. Sending virtual hugs. One response catches my eye. From Dr. Radical Prof. You should try a feminist pedagogy experiment. I removed all deadlines and grades from my class. Let students self-evaluate. Transform the learning environment. Tell me more. She links a blog post. Dismantling Academic Oppression, a Guide. 3,000 words on grade abolition. Sounds revolutionary. Week 5. Announced to class. We're trying something new. Grades are a tool of capitalist ranking. This semester will be pass or fail, based on participation and growth. Student raises hand, but the syllabus said, the syllabus is a living document, remember? She looks annoyed. Another hand, what counts as participation? Showing up. Engaging authentically. Doing the emotional labor of learning. Confused silence. This is going to be great. Real education, not performance for grades. Week 6. Attendance drops from 45 to 28. Concerning, but expected. The uncommitted self-selecting out. Remaining students split into groups. Some genuinely engaged. Others clearly here for easy pass. Either way, they're present. Lecture on toxic masculinity. Really hitting my stride. This is what I was born to do. Suddenly, Dokor opens. 3 students walk in late, sit in back row, start talking among themselves. Excuse me. Class is in session. One of them looks up. You said participation is what matters. We're participating. Participating means engaging. We're engaging with each other, discussing the material. I can hear you talking about basketball. Basketball is a site of masculine performance. Totally relevant. The other students laugh. I feel control slipping. Let's refocus. Toxic masculinity harms men too. It teaches them to suppress emotions. Hand goes up. If men are victims too. Why is it called toxic masculinity? Why not just toxic behavior? Because the behavior is rooted in masculine norms. But women can be toxic too. We're getting off track. The terminology reflects power structures. But if power structures harm everyone, why gender the terminology? Won't that create resentment? The room feels adversarial. Even some of the engaged students look thoughtful, like they're actually considering his point. No, no, no. This is exactly what I warned about. Derailing tactics. We're moving on. After class. Check email. 7 students have emailed asking for grade clarification. 3 parents have contacted the department. 1 student filed a complaint about my answer to the terminology question. The complaint says I was dismissive, created hostile learning environment by refusing to engage with legitimate questions. Ridiculous. Week 7. Dr. Morrison calls another meeting. Sit down, Claire. We need to talk about your pass-fail experiment. You didn't get department approval. I didn't realize I needed approval. To improve my pedagogy. She rubs her temples. You've had 12 students drop the class, 8 formal complaints, and parents calling my office. Parents of college students. Shouldn't be calling about grades. Maybe not. But they are. And I have to deal with it. I'm trying to create meaningful education, not just produce compliant workers. She leans forward. Claire, do you know how I got tenure in 1987? As a woman? In academia? In the Reagan era? I shake my head. I published more than anyone else. I taught better than anyone else. I was undeniably excellent. There was no room for criticism. Times have changed. We don't have to prove ourselves anymore. She laughs bitterly. Every time a junior professor tanks a class, it reflects on the department. On me. That's respectability politics. No, that's reality. You have 1 semester to show improvement. Or tenure track becomes adjunct track. I leave the meeting shaking. This is systematic suppression. A feminist pedagogy. She's protecting the institution, not the students. Week 8. Attendance down to 19. But these are the true believers. Quality over quantity. Today we discuss intersectionality. The students who remain seem receptive. Mostly women. A few progressive men. Hand goes up. Girl in front row. Purple hair. Ally vibes. Yes, Maya? I love this class. But I'm worried about my transcript. I'm pre-law. Pass-fail might hurt my applications. My heart sinks. The system is the problem, Maya. Not the grading. I know, but I still have to exist in the system. Can I get a letter grade for this class? That would undermine the whole experiment. I understand. But I also need to get into law school. To actually change things. From inside the system. Other students murmur agreement. Even the true believers want traditional grades. For practical reasons. Fine. I'll offer optional letter grades for those who need them. 14 students immediately request them, leaving 5 in the experiment. Week 9. Get an email from the Middleton Monitor, student newspaper. They want to interview me about my innovative teaching methods. Finally, some recognition. Agree to interview. Reporter is a sophomore journalism major. Friendly demeanor. Professor Whitmore. Your class has been controversial. Can you explain your pedagogy? Of course. I explain everything. Feminist pedagogy. Grade abolition. Centering marginalized voices. Challenging capitalist academic structures. She nods and takes notes. Some students say they feel unprepared for other classes after yours, that their critical thinking skills weren't developed. How do you respond? I wasn't expecting that. Those students are uncomfortable being challenged. I'm asking them to question everything they've been taught. That's difficult. One student says she got an A for an essay that was mostly copied because it had the right political position. That's not accurate. I grade on engagement with material. But shouldn't engagement include original analysis? Original analysis can reproduce harmful frameworks. So agreeing with you is more important than thinking? I didn't say that. What did you say? This interview is over. Article comes out next week. Headline reads, Sociology professor accused of political grading. Worst headline possible. They quoted everything out of context. Well, technically, in context, but without nuance, without understanding. Comments section is brutal. This is why academia is broken. Fire her immediately. My tuition pays for this. I stop reading. Week 10. Dr. Morrison calls again. The article has gone viral. The college board is involved. This is beyond my control now. I'm being targeted by right-wing media. No, Claire. You're being held accountable by your own students. They've been radicalized by what? By wanting grades? By expecting to learn critical thinking in a class about critical thinking? You're not hearing me. I'm hearing you perfectly. You wanted to run an experiment. It failed. Now you're blaming everyone except yourself. That's not fair. Fair? You gave a student an A for plagiarism because she agreed with you. You gave a B- to original research because it cited the wrong sources. Those sources were peer-reviewed. The room goes quiet. I have nothing to say. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to finish this semester with traditional grading. And next semester, you're on probation. Probation? Be grateful it's not termination. The board wanted your resignation. I convinced them to give you another chance. Why? Because I believe in second chances. And because I remember being young and idealistic, before reality set in, this isn't over. It is for now. Go teach your class. Week 11. I reinstate traditional grading. Students seem relieved, even the progressive ones. Lecture on economic inequality. Sticking to the textbook. No more experiments. No more innovation. Student raises hand. The same business fraternity guy. What now? Professor, I just want to say, I appreciate the change. I actually learned something this week about wealth distribution. Thank you. I don't know how to respond. He's not being sarcastic. He seems genuine. I nod awkwardly. After class. Maya approaches. Thank you for the letter grades. I got into my top law school. I'm going to fight for change from inside. I thought you wanted to dismantle the system. I want to improve it. Dismantling and rebuilding takes generations. I want to help people now. Maybe those aren't mutually exclusive. She shrugs. Maybe. But I had to choose. And I chose to be effective, over being pure. She leaves. I sit in the empty classroom, thinking. Week 12. Final essays. Grading traditionally now. Actually reading the arguments. Not just checking for correct positions. First essay argues for universal basic income. Well-researched, considers counter-arguments, draws nuanced conclusion. I disagree with some of it. Give it an A-. Second essay argues against minimum wage increase. Citations are solid. Logic is consistent. Acknowledges limitations. Give it a B+. Feels weird. Third essay is passionate feminist analysis. No sources. Lots of feeling. Minimal evidence. Would have been an A 2 months ago. Give it a C+. Finish grading. Check the grade distribution. Looks like a normal curve. Not everyone got A's. Not everyone failed. This feels more honest. Also more exhausting. And somehow less satisfying. End of semester. Final evaluations. Nervous to read them. Professor Whitmore means well, but was confusing. Class got better at the end. Wish she'd been clearer from the start. Learned a lot once grading changed. One evaluation stands out. I came to this class ready to agree with everything. The experience of not being challenged made me realize I wanted to be challenged. The last month was the best education I've gotten. I read it 3 times, not sure how to feel. Winter break. Visit my parents in Connecticut. Mom asks how first semester went. Complicated, I say. Dad looks up from his newspaper. Your mother was a teacher for 30 years. Middle school English. Most demanding job there is. I know, Dad. She never had tenure track, though. Never published. Just taught. I taught thousands of children to read, she says quietly. And you did it so well, I say. But academia is different. We're advancing knowledge, changing discourse, shaping the field. Mom sips her tea. What did you teach your students this semester? I think about it. I taught them about gender construction, power structures, intersectionality, systemic oppression. Did they learn it? Some of them. Maybe. I'm not sure. She nods. That's teaching. You never really know. You just try to do better next time. That seems too simple. Most important things are simple. The hard part is doing them, not understanding them. I fly back to Vermont, feeling something I can't name. Not defeat, not victory, something else. Spring semester starts, new class, same introduction to sociology, 50 fresh faces, handout syllabi, 20 pages this time. Traditional structure, clear expectations. Welcome to Introduction to Sociology. This semester we will learn how society works and how to think critically about it. Emphasis on think critically. Not agree with me. Student raises hand. Already? Yes? Are there trigger warnings for the readings? Pause. No, but if something is disturbing, you can come talk to me. and we'll figure it out together. She nods, seems satisfied. Week 1 goes smoothly. Students do the readings. We discuss. They disagree with me sometimes. I engage instead of dismissing. Business major argues capitalism has lifted billions from poverty. I acknowledge the data. Then add nuance about exploitation. He considers it. We move on. Feminist student argues all gender is performance. I ask her to consider cross-cultural evidence. She gets defensive. I stay patient. By end of class, she's thinking harder. This feels different, more difficult, more real. Week 3. Dr. Morrison stops by, observing my class. I'm nervous but prepared. Lecture on research methods. Explain how to evaluate sources, how to construct arguments, how to disagree productively. She takes notes. After class. That was good, Claire. Really good. Thank you. What changed? I think about it. I stopped trying to prove something and started trying to teach something. She smiles. That's growth. Keep going. She leaves. Week 5. Student comes to office hours. The one who asked about trigger warnings. Hi, Professor. I wanted to talk about the last lecture. Of course. What's on your mind? You said gender is socially constructed. But you also said biological sex is real. Some people say that's transphobic. Do you think it's transphobic? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I appreciate that. Explain the nuance. Social construction doesn't mean nothing is real. It means we interpret reality through social frameworks. Sex and gender are related but different concepts. Understanding this helps trans people, not hurts them. She thinks about it. That makes sense. Thanks for explaining. Instead of just saying I was wrong for asking, I nod. Asking questions is how you learn. Even uncomfortable ones. Especially uncomfortable ones. She leaves, looking thoughtful. Week 8. Check in with Dr. Morrison. Your evaluations are much better. Students say they feel challenged, but respected. That's the goal. One concern, though, some colleagues are upset. They say you've become too moderate. You're not upholding feminist principles. I've had those conversations. In the faculty lounge. Been called a sellout. Told I'm performing for the institution. How do you respond? I ask them what the goal is. To feel righteous? Or to create change? They don't like that question. No, they wouldn't. Dr. Morrison leans back. When I was your age, I was the radical one. My advisors thought I was too aggressive, too focused on gender, too political. What changed? I realized being right wasn't enough. I had to be effective. Those aren't the same thing. The students you dismissed today might be the allies you need tomorrow. I think about Maya, the law school student, working inside the system. She emails me sometimes, interning at a civil rights organization, actually changing policies, while I was making vision boards. Wait, wrong story. While I was abolishing grades. Week 12, end of second semester. Final essays due. Grading takes forever, but feels meaningful. Students actually engaged with material, made real arguments, considered evidence, disagreed with me in productive ways. Some changed my mind. One essay argues socialism has failed historically. It's well researched, cites primary sources, acknowledges good intentions, criticizes outcomes. Give it an A-, write comment, excellent research and argumentation. Consider exploring why some socialist policies succeed in certain contexts. I'd be interested in your analysis. He responds next day. Thanks, Professor. That's a good question. I'll look into it. Maybe there's a middle ground? That's the whole point. Thinking. Not agreeing. Thinking. Summer arrives. Year 1 complete. Survived. Barely. Dr. Morrison sends congratulations email. First year is always hardest. You've shown real growth. looking forward to year 2. I sit in my empty office, thinking about everything, the failures, the complaints, the article, the recovery. What did I learn? That intentions aren't outcomes, that righteous isn't right, that teaching means meeting students where they are, not where you think they should be. My phone buzzes. Message from Dr. Radical Prof, from the Discord server, the one who suggested grade abolition. Hey Claire, haven't seen you online. How did the experiment go? Typing. It didn't work. I had to change back to traditional grading. Got in trouble with the department. Oh no, they got to you. The institution always wins. You should try again somewhere more progressive. Don't let them silence you. I stare at the message. A year ago I would have agreed, would have blamed the institution, the patriarchy, the students, anyone but myself. Start typing a response. Actually, I think the problem was my approach. I wasn't teaching, I was preaching. There's a difference. Students need to develop their own thinking. Send, long pause. Then she responds. Wow. Didn't expect that from you. Sounds like you've been institutionalized. Sad to see. I leave her on red. Close the Discord app. Haven't opened it since. Fall of year 2. Tenure review coming up. Need to prove myself. Again. But this time feels different. I'm not trying to prove women can lead, or that feminist pedagogy is superior. I'm trying to prove I can teach. That's it. Run into Jake from Brewhive. Wait, wrong story again. Run into Dr. Harrison, conservative professor from political science. We've argued at faculty meetings. Professor Whitmore. I heard your class went well last semester. Surprised, but pleased. Thanks, Dr. Harrison. He pauses. I disagreed with your methods last year. Thought you were indoctrinating students. I stand by that criticism. Okay, but I also think you've improved. Students are learning to think now. Even if I disagree with your conclusions, I appreciate that. He walks away. I stand there, trying to process. A conservative professor respecting my teaching, while my progressive colleagues call me a sellout. Maybe that means something. Maybe it means I'm doing it right. Or maybe wrong. I'm not sure anymore. And maybe that's the point. Not being sure. Staying open. Keeping thinking. Year 3. Tenure review. Sitting before the committee. 5 senior professors, including Dr. Morrison. Professor Whitmore. You've had an unusual trajectory. Your first semester was concerning. Your second was adequate. Your third was strong. Your fourth was excellent. Explain. I take a deep breath. I came here wanting to change the world. I thought that meant changing my students, making them think like me. I was wrong. Teaching isn't about making copies. It's about making thinkers, even if they think differently than you, especially if they think differently. I confused teaching with activism. They're not the same thing. Activism is about changing minds. Teaching is about developing minds. There's a difference. The committee exchanges glances. One professor speaks. Old white guy, expected to oppose me. Professor Whitmore. I came to this review skeptical. Your first year was a disaster. Your politics are the opposite of mine. I assumed you'd remain ideological. But your teaching evaluations, your student outcomes, your willingness to change have impressed me. Thank you. Dr. Morrison speaks last. I took a chance hiring you. You almost made me regret it. Now I'm glad I didn't give up. Congratulations. Tenure granted. I walk out of the meeting, into the Vermont sunshine, feeling something I can't name. Not victory exactly. More like relief? No, that's not it either. It's humility. The strange lightness of admitting you were wrong and being forgiven anyway. Call my mom. I got tenure. That's wonderful, honey. She sounds genuinely happy. Not surprised, but happy. Dad gets on the phone. Congratulations, Claire. Knew you could do it. Took some time to figure out how. Most important things do. Walk back to my office, past the students, heading to class, complaining about readings, arguing about ideas, living their lives. One student waves, from last semester, the one who asked about trigger warnings. Hey, Professor Whitmore, got into grad school. For sociology. That's wonderful. Where? Michigan. Full scholarship. I want to study gender and education. She grins. You changed my mind about a lot of things, not by telling me what to think, but by making me think. Thank you. She walks away. I stand there, trying not to cry. In a good way. Maybe this is what winning looks like. Not proving a point. Not changing the system overnight. Just teaching one student at a time. To think for themselves, even if they end up disagreeing with you. Especially then. Because that's the whole point, isn't it? Be me. 35 years old now. Associate professor with tenure. Teaching the same class. Introduction to sociology. Still get complaints sometimes. From students who want easy answers. From colleagues who think I'm too moderate. From conservatives who think I'm too radical. Maybe being criticized from all sides. Means I'm doing something right. Or maybe I'm just mediocre. Hard to tell. But my students are thinking. Really thinking. Arguing with evidence. Changing their minds when warranted. Defending their positions when not. That's not nothing. It might even be something. I'm not sure. And I'm okay with not being sure. Finally, the end.